We're here at Bethel Park High School, and we're talking about the Career Spotlight series. We've been doing some filming of some of the different sessions, talking to some of the speakers and so forth about what it's like to come to Bethel Park, but also what it's like to talk to the different high school students about what they know of in their careers, to try and help the students figure out what they want to do and what they don't want to do. So we're here with the two guidance counselors who are putting this together. Would you two like to introduce yourselves and what you do here at Bethel Park?
Sure. My name is Lori Smith, and I'm a high school counselor, and I've helped get the Career Spotlight series off as a pilot last year, and this year it's really taken off.
Okay.
And I'm Kristen Michaels. I'm also one of the counselors here at the high school. This is my first year working on the Career Spotlight series. We really wanted to grow the series this year.
So how long have you two been counselors, though, for the school district?
Well, I've been a counselor for 5 years. Prior to that, I taught biology here for 16, so I've been in Bethel for 21 years. But I really wanted to help the students find out what they wanted to do. I really found that to be a passion, that a lot of students really didn't know what careers that they were interested in or what those careers entailed.
And I've been a counselor since 2002, so going on 13 years for Bethel Park. I actually started as a counselor.
Okay, so in the years, the 5 years, 10 years, and so forth, that you've been working at counselors now, I've never seen a series like this, a Spotlight series. This seems very unique even with other districts. I mean, I've seen these job fairs, so to speak, or career fairs. This is different. Tell us where this whole idea came from. What was your mindset in wanting to do something this way?
Well, Kristen and I were talking, and we just noticed when we would take students to career fairs that they would walk around, they would collect brochures, they would gravitate to maybe the coolest design that was up, or the coolest sign that someone had, or who was giving the best giveaways, and they really weren't coming away with the content or the depth of what that career was. There wasn't a lot of interaction, so we wanted to do something different because it's such a huge part of why we're here as educators, to help these children find out what it is they want to do and make good decisions about their futures. So we decided to go a different way.
We also wanted to make it more personal so that kids could reach out for future job shadows, for experiences outside of the school day, even on breaks, you know, even on weekends for some positions. But this way they were making a more personal connection so that they could reach out to those professionals, ask them questions after the fact. Sometimes they're not comfortable in a big forum, or especially in an open forum with asking a professional question. They might need a little bit of time to think about it. Technologically speaking, they're more comfortable with email anyways. This is giving them that contact directly.
Was this an idea that just came up between the two of you, or have you seen this somewhere else or had heard about this in other districts?
No, I think this was kind of our brainchild, to be honest. We just, over time, thought we want to give the students a much more in-depth experience. Wish that I would have had something like this whenever I was in school. And you can read about a profession, you can look at books, but until you actually talk to someone about what they do in depth, really do you know what it is? And from there they can do a job shadow if it's something that really piques their interest.
So you two got this idea. What did you have to do next with this idea? Did you have to take it to administration, or how hard was it to bring it to where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely involved administration the first year as the pilot to see could we get professionals to give their time to come in. Fortunately, in Bethel Park, we have a very active community. They genuinely care about helping students. So
they've been amazing.
It's really quite easy for us to get almost every profession, even, you know, physicians and like today, federal agents. We really do have an active community. So first it was administration. Once we got the go-ahead for that, it was getting the word out there that we needed speakers. And, you know, through PR, through the websites, we were able to start that last year.
Right. And we gather biographies on the speakers just to see what their background is, if it's something that would be a good fit for our students, and we give them talking points. So they have about 35 to 40 minutes to talk and give them a guide for what we're looking for, such as what's the job outlook, what's the education that's needed, what are the strengths that you need to have the position, what are the challenges of the job. We want it to be real. So for example, we had a pharmacist speak, and that's a great career. However, in Pittsburgh currently that market is saturated. So that's important for students to know if they're going to major in pharmacy, that maybe they need to think about, am I willing to move?
So challenges, what were some of the major challenges in putting this all together then?
I would say that for me, and I think that Mrs. Smith would agree, our biggest challenge has been managing this for 6 weeks while maintaining our regular caseload and regular job. We attend every session, at least one of us. We want to be there to hear what the professional has to say. We also want to be there to support the students and help guide their questions if they aren't asking any. So that and managing our regular caseload out of the office job while being out for at least 4 periods a day has been definitely a time management barrier.
Right. That, along with just the logistics of just trying to arrange over 30, 35 speakers coming in at different times, trying to stagger the sessions so that students don't miss the same period, thinking about what periods they're offered. So for example, the Still Center students, who tend to be more hands-on type oriented, we wanted to have the speakers in maybe carpentry and construction come at 1 o'clock, which is after the Still Center bus gets here, so that they could attend. Things like that, just behind the scenes. There was a lot of organization. Just was really a big team effort, and the counseling secretaries have been wonderful as well. We try to give every professional a certificate of appreciation, because we do appreciate their time. They're giving up a lot of time to talk with the students, and we want to give them a quality experience, and we really appreciate everything that they've done.
Okay, support from Dr. Gensanti and staff, the teachers and so forth here at the high school?
I've even had some of the paraprofessionals come up to me and say what a great job they think that we've been doing with this, and that they really appreciate it. Parent feedback. Some classes actually come up as a group to attend certain sessions, like forensic science coming to forensics, the advanced health classes, the marketing classes, diversified occupations, so that those classes are tailored towards finding your career, finding your way in life anyways, and they want them to participate in it. So there's been a lot of cross-curricular communication between us and the teachers, and then also their cooperation with bringing classes in.
Right, and also the journalism class will send students, so that's part of their assignment is to interview different speakers and write an article, and as well the media production class will film to help the students gain practice in that aspect as well. So it's been really nice to kind of work across the curriculum, and also there's been a lot of teachers that are really, really supportive, and we do try to send out reminder emails, for example, to the AP biology class when we have a physician coming in or a nurse anesthetist coming in, and just to remind them that we do have these professionals speaking that might be applicable to the classes that they teach and the students in those classes.
Was there any big changes from last year's sessions to this year, or is the program growing from where you were last year?
Growing. I actually think that we're over 40
over
at this
40
point. I'm not sure what we did. What was last year?
Last year was 25 to 30, and it was just during the month of November. So we've added an additional 2 weeks on, which could be another 12 to 15 speakers. And I think that we've tried to spread the word throughout the community even more, get some good publicity, and we have Naviance, which is it's basically a career readiness program, and we're able to send emails out to parents and to students to let them know what speakers are coming out. So we are doing that as well.
Do you think you've reached a point that this is about as big as you're going to make it?
I think this is about as big as we can make it.
Okay.
I think, ultimately if we could hit 50, that would be nice, to make sure that there are a couple of areas that we weren't able to find someone. So, I think that we'll still try to add on a few, but much beyond this, you're getting into testing season. And
Why November? Is that why because of other curriculum you're trying to work around? Or
Yeah, absolutely. The testing for Keystone testing, which usually runs in December, also the November 1 deadline for colleges. We like to make sure that we're there for those kids who are applying early to schools in the beginning of the year, and scheduling adjustments and transition to high school in general for the younger kids. So this is a month that sometimes calms down a little bit before Christmas break. So
we've
it's a
thought
nice
about
time of year.
we thought about running a spring series, and again, that's just all logistics and planning, and we're working again around testing and scheduling for next year with students and so on and so forth. So it would be nice. We tried it last year and it just didn't work with the schedule and the calendar, but maybe this year we'll give it a shot. We'd like to cover, I think, more of the trades that we didn't get to cover this year, so that might be another thing coming.
Let's talk about some of the speakers. You say you have 40 speakers this year. Are they totally different than last year, or are some of the speakers from last year coming back again this year, and are they different students coming from last year to this year? And why don't you highlight some of the speakers that you've had, and touch on some of the careers and so forth that we're talking about?
We've definitely had some speakers who were return guests. John Hinderleiter, I'm drawing a blank.
Christy Benacki in accounting came, and also our biomedical engineer came.
Our physician.
Dr. Campbell from the school board.
Sales, medical sales was standoff, and he came last year as well as this year. I would say that a lot of them did change their talk to some extent. I don't know if we have that many repeat students who are necessarily attending. I've had one or two students say that they attended last year and they came again this year. And those are the kids that, they're very much interested. We have had a few very young students, our 9th graders, who have decided to attend the sessions as well, which I was happy to see because I wasn't sure if we would get a lot of 9th grade pool. But the 9th graders who came really seemed to enjoy it and be genuinely interested.
And we have had some students come back that have graduated from Bethel that are now our speakers. So Samantha Mace is in the dental hygiene school at the University of Pittsburgh, and so when she came in with Victoria Green, she was here and she still knew a lot of the students, and she just graduated a year and a half ago. So that was really nice for them to connect with her, and she could tell about her experience in the program. And it's a 2-year program, and we have tried to not just make this a 4-year college type of a series. It's 4-year college, of course, but also things that require 2 years, different careers that might not require any kind of post-secondary education, maybe just training. So, for example, in real estate, we had someone that flips houses and that also is a realtor, and explained about how she goes about making a decision about which house to buy and how she can make money and so forth. So we've tried to hit all different kinds of audiences.
Last year we did a trades night in the evening, and we just, for the amount of work that it took to get that many professional tradesmen in, we didn't feel that we had enough attendance. So that's why we decided to push those trades into day as well. Now we do try to schedule them in the afternoon so that our kids who are out at Parkway and at Steele Center are able to attend those. But like the carpentry, the construction, those were ones that we more focused on in the evening last year and pulled those into the day program. This year we also added a lot of areas of engineering. We added structural engineering, and a lot of the people who came in to talk could speak about multiple areas in civil, in structural, in biomedical, and one of the companies in particular actually has multiple levels of engineering within his company, so he was able to speak on that as well. We've added the forensics, we've added the federal agent for the U.S. Postal Inspector, and those are really big areas of interest for kids right now with all the TV shows and things out. But it's important for them to know things like today we learned that the best major that you can have is to go into computers to become a federal agent and to be multilingual.
To learn Arabic, that's one of the best languages if you want to go into that field. So
interesting. So you guys have learned from these speakers also?
Absolutely.
So much.
Now what you two have learned is, or do you feel that these are skills that you're going to be able to take with you into your guidance conversations with parents and students?
Absolutely. Even like the computer information and the computer technology majors, computer science, knowing, what schools really are your strongest. What are you seeing as a professional, kids coming out of this school and they're the most prepared to come in and work under you? That is invaluable information for us, because so often, a student will focus on a school because it's in a magazine as a good school for this. But is it really? Are these people really getting into the field around here? If that's, if you want to stay in this area, these people are hiring you. So, what is a good school to attend for that? That's been invaluable information for me.
Is that something you expected to get out of this, or is this
We were
something
hoping.
that you were hoping? Okay.
And also to know that sometimes it doesn't matter so much what school you go to, but the internships and the experience that the students get over the summer. Just hearing about that they'd rather hire someone with a 3.3 grade point average that has a lot of experience and is well-rounded, as opposed to someone who has a 4.0. So really getting out there, being proactive and getting internships in the summertime, that was really important as well. Another thing we've done is we're creating a file in the guidance office and the counseling office to address all these careers, and everyone has been pretty much able to share their email address with us and contact information. So if a student is really interested, they can go ahead and contact the professional and see if they're willing to set up a job shadow. That's not something that we do, but that's something that the student can do with the parent, is to seek some more information to do a job shadow.
So what are you hearing from the students now that you're 2 years into this program, but especially this year with how many students that I saw? I mean, you're packing the room. What feedback are you getting from students directly?
I think we've been getting positive feedback, especially from the kids who are, in the session, and we're talking to them on their way out and things like that. I think that I'm hoping to, and we haven't really discussed this, I'm hoping to do some sort of survey to find out from kids, how did they go? Did they enjoy it? Did they like the registration process? Even the basics like that, because we're not sure, is signing up online a hindrance to them? Would they rather come to the office? It's those little things that really make a difference for who is going to attend. So, do they think that over 6 weeks was too long? Should we have done more condensed? So we do hope to get that feedback from the kids as well when the program concludes.
Right. And I think it's important for the students to let us know if we've missed any areas. And I have had a few emails from parents saying, what about this field or that field? And we try to cover as much as we can. We've had, again, great support from the community and also staff. For example, we have Dr. Kapusta, our school psychologist, who's going to be speaking about different careers in psychology, because he's done not just school psychology, but also he is a professor. He's done clinical psychologist in his own practice. Lynn Serena is one of our speech therapists. So,
and Maureen Swager both came to talk about speech therapy, and they're at different levels, one being elementary and one being more middle school, high school.
Right, so just tapping into our own resources has really been, I think, a really great thing, because they connect with the students and the community, and a lot of members of the community know some of the students, so it's been, I think, a real nice effort, big effort.
Absolutely.
Students talking about the speakers directly? I mean, feedback on the quality of the speakers?
I think
whether
that's a hard question for us, because we, not being on the academic wing or in the classroom, once the students leave the presentation, we may or may not have that much contact with them. So that is a piece that the teachers may be getting a little bit more, especially teachers who brought specific classes because of an interest, like marketing classes, coming to the marketing professional. Those teachers probably have received more immediate feedback than we will.
And you might start seeing it as you're counseling these kids when they become juniors and seniors and going to college.
And scheduling is right around the corner.
So this program, you're happy with it, and this is something you're planning on taking forward for next year, year after, and so forth, and you see the benefits of doing it?
I hope so. I think that we will see it over time. I think even with scheduling, it seems like a small piece of our job, it's actually very huge, because a lot of these professionals are saying, you know, you need to have X, Y, and Z in college. Now, we have firsthand knowledge of that through hearing their presentations, but when we're sitting with that student and we're talking about, you know, what classes do you want to take next year, we're really helping them to plan for what they want to do after high school as well. And I know that's always something that I ask them immediately, and sometimes they don't know, sometimes they have an idea. I like to look back at my notes when I see them the next year then for scheduling to see, has it changed? Is it going sort of in the same direction but with a slightly different twist? Like, that is very helpful information for me to even schedule them at the high school level to make sure that they can meet their goals.
Right, and make good choices with the classes. For example, one of our illustrators, John Hinderleiter, said to use, he uses Photoshop all the time, and that is definitely a class that artists should be taking, and I don't know that we would have necessarily
Pushed that before.
Right, before. So in engineering classes, of course, you know, you need the math and so on, but also the communication skills. So public speaking is a really important class for a lot of students to take, because communication, we have found, is I think a challenge for students nowadays with all the cell phones. It's a lot easier to text, and we're kind of losing the communication component. So a lot of companies want good communicators. So it's important for students to be able to communicate.
Have you heard back from many of the speakers?
I've heard back from a few. A lot will email almost immediately after leaving and say that they really enjoyed it and they felt connected with the kids and it was a good opportunity. And yeah,
They like this size as opposed
Yes.
to talking to a large group.
Couple hundred kids?
Yes, where it's overwhelming and you
What's
start
the
to lose
average
the
size
student's attention.
of students you have here? These 40?
30 to
20 to 30.
20 to 30?
Yeah, 30 is our cap. Now, if we have a speaker that has a very large draw for some reason, we'll look into, you know, is everybody really serious about this? And we also know that sometimes the day of the presentation something comes up and a student is either absent or a teacher isn't able to release them because it's a test day. So you do have some who have signed up who aren't going to attend. So we can usually balance the numbers. It's all part of the importance of us being present for the speaking series too, to be able to attend and know that, you know, we're monitoring who's coming, is anybody abusing the privilege, you know, are we getting the right audience?
Right.
Kids abuse the privilege? What do you mean? I mean, kind of
Well,
the class just
sometimes-
how many kids do you think come to the seminars just to get out of class, though?
I think it's actually a pretty low number.
Yeah,
So,
that was
I
my
would say
impression
like
of
4 or
being-
5.
Yeah.
There's been a couple occasions where someone was in a class for biomedical engineering and they hadn't had biology yet. So it's a little bit of a red flag. But, you know, kids are kids, and we addressed it and took care of it. But I think the majority of them really are coming because they're serious about learning about that career, whether or not it eliminates that career path for them or helps them to go towards it. And that's what we're looking for.
That's what I was curious, if you think that some of the students, or percentage-wise, how many of them are eliminating choices more than they are saying, yes, that's what I want to do.
It's part of the process, and I don't
Right.
think we'll know for sure, but you definitely hear, oh, I really want to do that, or, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. So that's what we're looking for, those kind of aha moments where, is it going to click, is it not going to click? And the more that we can give them, the better decisions they can make, and then ultimately it's up to them.
Feedback from parents? Have the kids gone home and talked about the career seminars at all?
I haven't had that much feedback from parents.
A few emails from parents saying that they were really excited about the series. I've had a lot of community members who want to speak, and we had to actually turn people away because we were filled. So I think that when they see the offerings that we have, and we do put those out on the email as well, the speakers that are coming up, that they do get kind of excited. And I think there's some conversations that go on at home between the students and the parents, and that's always a good thing to
Are
open
you
up that
already
dialogue.
looking at next year, planning on next year's?
Not yet.
Seminars?
I think we're trying to get through right now.
Yeah, we still have another week
Yeah.
to go on this year, but we have talked to some people who really did want to come. We have maybe had already booked that profession, and so we have said if we are able to run one in the spring, that we would contact them,
Right.
or next year. that we would definitely contact them for the following year, because we do want it to be fresh. We don't want it to just be the same presentations.
Same thing year after year.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of mix it up a little bit. And then Kristen and I, after this is all completed, we'll go through and discuss what do we think was a good fit, what maybe wasn't a good fit, where do we need more areas represented, and so on.
Have you heard from other districts? Is word getting out of what you're doing, and have other districts
not.
contacted you on
I have not heard
doing this
anything. I know there was a few articles in some of the local papers, but I haven't heard anything. I know some of the districts still do the big fairs, and that's fine.
Are you still going to participate in any big fairs, or you're pretty much done with those and moving on to this
Well,
stuff?
the consortium that we used to be a member on, it's dissolved. So schools, at least to my knowledge, that are still running the big fairs are doing it more independent, or one or two schools are getting together and doing that. We have a very large student population here. It's very hard for us to merge with another district and actually give the kids a meaningful experience. So I think that we'll probably, unless told otherwise, we'll probably continue in this route.
Right, and when you have 1,600 students, you can't possibly take all 1,600 students.
It's a lot of school buses.
Right. So, we were trying to reach all of the students, not have them miss an entire day of school, maybe just a period here or there, and make it so that it's very cost effective, and all of the professionals are donating their time, which is really, really wonderful.
Well, thank you two very, very much for sitting down and talking to us about this. It's been fun being part of these career spotlights. I've learned a lot actually from the speakers, and I've thoroughly enjoyed interacting with the students. They all seem very lively, very active, very much wanting to be part of it, and it's been a fun process. So thank you for putting this together for the students and for the community itself. I think it's a win for everybody. I wish you the best through the rest of this year, and look forward to hearing some good things from your department for next year on it. So thank you very, very much.
And thank you so much for all of your help with this.
You're welcome.
Sweet.
And appreciate you watching the session. These Spotlight series are going to be available on BPTV. They're also going to be available through the Bethel Park School District through their website. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching Bethel Park TV cable, and enjoy watching the series on the career spotlights from Bethel Park High School. Thank you.